Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, Cordova in Bloom. We talk and flourish with you. And if you're wondering why I'm speaking English instead of Indonesian for today's occasion, is because we have a special theme for today, and that is inspiring stories, a native English teacher's journey. And for your host, my name is Ahmad Yasin Abdul Aziz Kurniadi, and for today's theme, I have a special guest. His name is Mr. Duncan. Mr. Duncan, please let me invite you over to sit down. Sorry.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So, Mr., I would like to introduce yourself to the audience.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Mr. Duncan. I am the English teacher at Cordova.
Yes, you are our teacher who teaches English in Cordova. He teaches regularly in Ruang Safa, and he teaches us English. Nothing else. And where are you from?
I am from the UK. Originally, I was from Scotland.
Scotland. Interesting.
Yeah, but when I got older, I moved to England.
England. Which city?
London.
London. Have you ever done similar thing, like broadcasting in a radio or a podcast?
No,
No.
I can't say that I have.
Well, I would say me neither, because this is my second time being in a podcast. The last time was almost a week ago. Me and my friend, we made a podcast together for a group project. So, for this session, I'm gonna be interviewing you. Would you mind that?
I don't mind at all.
Alright, so let's start off with the first question. Can you tell us about yourself as an English teacher?
Okay. I started teaching English full time when I came to Indonesia in 2011.
2011, that's 13 years ago.
Yes. And I have been teaching English ever since then. So for 13 years, I have been teaching English.
13 years. Where did you work at?
Okay. I don't want to mention the place, but it's a big company. Lots of students go to this place. It's just like an English course. But I won't mention the name.
Alright, reasonable. I've actually been in his class before, since I was one of the company student. So we have our own experience outside of Cordova. So would you like to go to the next question?
Yes, let's go.
Let's talk a bit about teaching English in Indonesia. How would you describe the experience here?
Okay, for me personally, it's been positive experience.
Positive.
Yeah, positive. Most of the students I have, they enjoy learning English. I have never really had any problems with the students before. Most of them show respect towards the English teacher.
Well, that's good to hear, because well, never mind, I don't want to mention any bad things today. So outside of Cordova, wait, let me ask you, besides that company, have you ever taught in a different place other than that company?
Yes, I've taught in a lot of public schools in Indonesia,
Public school.
government schools.
Oh. And where? Which city?
In Jakarta, in Lipo, but I gave up teaching in Jakarta because it takes too long to drive to Jakarta every morning.
Oh, because you live in Lipo, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I see. Well, that's understandable. I once had a lesson. Wait, I tried taking a lesson. It wasn't English, but it was a Russian class. I wanted to learn Russian, and it was in Jakarta. So it was gonna be like every week I go to Jakarta, but it takes too long.
Yes, it does.
Right. Move on to the next question. What are your thoughts on the overall approach to English education in Indonesia? Are there any specific strengths or areas for improvement that you've observed?
Yes. What I say about English education. Okay. There's too much focus on grammar.
Grammar.
Yes, grammar.
So what should they focus on?
Okay. They should focus on speaking.
Speaking.
Mm.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
way we're
like what
speaking
we
right
are doing now.
Yeah.
Just speaking. Don't worry about grammar until they get older. I would say about the age of 12, 13. Then worry about grammar. But at the beginning, just focus on your speaking.
Yeah, that's exactly why I intentionally made a grammar mistake just now. It's because even though I made a mistake, you still understood what I meant.
Yeah,
Right?
I did.
See?
See?
Exactly.
So no need.
So you don't really need, as long as you know the words and you know what you're going to say, the other person will always understand what you mean.
Yes.
And even if you make a few mistakes, sometimes the person will correct you. Well, if you're lucky,
Yes, they will.
if they're lucky as well.
Yeah. Grammar just slows you down
Yeah.
in your speaking.
From my personal experience, grammar has taken a toll on my speaking. Like sometimes when I try to speak, I think about the grammar because I'm scared of getting made fun of, because that's what happens when you speak English and you make a mistake. You're gonna get made fun of.
Yes, you will. Okay. So it's like when you were a child learning your first language, did your parents give you a grammar book?
No, never.
No, exactly no. Okay. Oh, right. All you done was started speaking straight away, nothing else. And that's how Indonesians should learn English, by speaking straight away, learning grammar later.
Yeah. The reason why I'm so used to speaking in English because I started speaking English with my brother and cousins when I was like 10 years old. So pretty much from then, every day we spoke in English and we got used to it. We got very used to it. Even until now, we still speak in English. So it proves to work really well.
Yes, it does. And for all the viewers that are listening, if you want to learn English, then there's a good example for you.
Yes, I feel very proud of myself for doing what I did with my brother. So shout out to him and my cousins. So, right, let's move on to the next questions. In your opinion, what challenges do Indonesian students commonly face when learning English? And how can teachers or schools help overcome these challenges?
Okay.
What do you think?
Most students worry about pronunciation.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, they think they're going to pronounce the word wrong. Okay. again, don't really worry too much about your pronunciation. People know what you're trying to say. So your pronunciation, it doesn't really matter. Take England, for example. Okay, so when I lived in London, there's a place just up the road, not too far from London, called Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Another big city. Okay, and people from London and people from Birmingham, their accents are very different. Their pronunciation is different. So there's not really one pronunciation for everybody.
There's gonna be so many different kinds of pronunciations.
Yes. So don't get hung up too much about your pronunciation. It's okay. The other factor is student motivation. Some students are just not motivated to learn English. They don't understand that it's going to be very useful for them in later life.
Especially if they want to work abroad.
Yes.
Right?
So basically they need more motivation to learn English.
Exactly. And the way I got used to pronunciation was I started watching YouTube videos in English ever since I was little. So I got very, very used to hearing British and American accents. So whenever I watch a video of a British or an American person speaking, I can understand them pretty well because I've gotten used to them for almost a decade. So, let's move on to the next question. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up as an English teacher at Cordova?
Okay, I ended up at Cordova because my last job, I resigned. I left.
Oh, you resigned?
Yeah. And then I was looking for a new job. And I came to Cordova, had an interview. They offered me the job. So I said yes. And I've been here ever since. So I've been here for about just over 1 year now.
For over 1 year, so far, what do you think of Cordova?
I think it's good. The students need some improvements on their English, but that is what we are working on now.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why you're here.
Yeah.
To improve our students' English. And what was your first impression of the school and its students? Well, prior to his time working here, he has made a few speeches to our events and I think you've attended our competitions before, right?
Yes, I was. When I worked for the other company, I attended a few events for Cordova, like spelling bee competitions, grammar competitions, just like fun English classes with the students before I joined Cordova. My opinion of the students at that time, before I joined Cordova, was that they were very respectful. And I knew their English was not so good, but that can be worked on.
Yeah, true. Because I really agree with you because before you worked here, I noticed some of the students here really lack vocabulary and lack experience in speaking in general.
Yes, they did. But that's only because they've not had much practice in speaking English. Going back to the question you asked earlier about improvements and things like that in the English lessons, okay, most of the time in the English lessons there isn't much speaking involved. Most of it is done on a textbook, writing, teacher writing on the board, you following the rules. To me, that is not learning English. Learning English is doing. Using English to speak. Communication. That's what English is about.
That's what learning any language is about.
Yes.
In general.
It is. So, like sitting in a room, teacher writing on the board, you copying into your notebook.
No, it doesn't work well. Like when the teacher writes the what you call it, formula, the grammatical formula, and then you write it down, you won't really understand what it means because like s plus blah 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 plus blah. It just looks like math, and then math in general makes students really confused. So same thing works with English, I guess.
Yes, it is. The more you use your English, the better it's going to become.
Exactly. Well, let's wait. Do you think Cordova students have made any improvements ever since you worked here?
I've seen improvements in a lot of students. Some students not moved. They're still on the same level they were when I came here. But a lot of students, I have seen an improvement in their English.
Very nice. So, from what I see, I think the way you're teaching them actually worked for them.
Yeah.
Like they're actually getting used to English, and they're getting better at speaking. It's quite impressive. Well, it is your job actually to teach them. Well, what do you think makes the students at Cordova stand out compared to students from other schools that you have taught in?
Okay. Now they stand out because when I speak to them, they do like answer my questions in English. But when I went to other schools, students were very quiet, and you spoke to them, it was like trying to get blood out of a stone. They would not answer you in English, or maybe they didn't understand what you were asking them, but they just used to sit there very quiet.
Or when they ask you, like when you're asking them a question and they're like, oh, and they're
that,
and then they get confused, and then they ask their friend, what does this mean? And then their friend doesn't know, and nobody knows.
Yeah. So like Cordova students, they seem to grasp what I am asking them.
Well, in my opinion, how well can you speak Indonesian?
I can speak Indonesian well enough to understand what the students are saying, but I never use Indonesian in my classroom.
Yeah. From what I see, the way you're limiting yourself from speaking. Wait, my words aren't really coming out, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
The way you're limiting yourself to not speak Indonesian really makes them used to hearing and speaking in English. So I think it's really awesome to have a native speaker here.
Yeah, well, that's all part of my plan, right? Yes, students ask me questions in Bahasa Indonesian, but I do not answer them.
You pretend to not understand.
Yes.
Could you share with us key topics or materials you focus on while teaching English at Cordova? What makes these areas particularly important for learning English? What do you think?
Okay, what I do at Cordova, first off, I will teach vocabulary, single words.
Single words.
Yeah, single words. Once the students have a lot of vocabulary, then I will move on to making sentences with the vocabulary they have already learned. I think that's the best way to do it, because everybody can say one-word sentences. If you ask somebody a question,
Yeah.
they're either going to say yes, no. If you say, what color? They're going to say
Red.
blue, whatever. So start off with the basics and build up into longer sentences later on.
How old do you think someone from Indonesia should start learning English? To get them used to it, I guess.
I would say about grade 1's okay, just for simple words.
Simple words like we actually do that every day, but they only memorize 5 words, but they don't make it into sentences.
Yeah, that's grade 1. Just learn them the words.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah. As they get older, I would say about grade 3, then start giving sentences.
We need to tell that to the school, because from what I see, I don't think that has been done here. So I think we need some improvements. Good advice. So next question: what challenges have you faced, and how have you overcome them?
Okay. I have not really faced many challenges. The only challenges that I faced were students, no matter what age, not understanding what you are saying to them. It doesn't matter what age. They could be like 5 years old, or they could be 50 years old. If you speak too fast, then they don't understand what you are saying. So my challenge is to slow down my speech so that they understand what I am saying to them.
True, because speaking too fast can take a toll on your own mind. Sometimes you speak without thinking. That's actually a really bad habit of mine, and I want to do what you're doing.
Okay. just keep doing it and it will come. You really don't have to do anything. You've just got to slow down your speech, that's all.
Yeah. If we were talking with the camera off right now, I would probably speak like I was rapping. I'm just being honest, because I speak just too fast for almost no reason. There's almost no reason for me to speak fast, but it's just the way I speak sometimes, and I don't like it.
That's just because you're used to speaking English.
I'm way too used to it. I'm way used to it. But it's kind of bad when you speak really fast. So, moving on. I want to ask you this particular question. What could you share a memorable experience or a moment that stood out to you during your time teaching here?
Okay, a memorable experience. It was yesterday.
Yesterday? Oh.
Yesterday. I had a student in my classroom, and she was in my classroom for about 2, maybe even 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah, I was not teaching her, but she was in my classroom. She's a special needs student.
I see. No wonder.
And she was just sitting there. So we were watching YouTube. Basically, ABC. Now I know my ABCs.
Oh, basic English
Yeah.
songs.
So we were watching that, and I kept replaying, and after a few hours, it stopped, and the little girl, all on her own. I have never heard her speak before, ever. And all on her own, she said A, B, C, D. And that's the first time I've ever heard her speak English. It's the first time I've ever heard her speak.
Speak in general.
Yeah, speak in general. And all on her own, she said A, B, C, D.
That's quite a big step for a special needs kid.
Yeah.
Whom you've never heard speak before.
Yeah. And that's the most recent. That's why I remember it. But that's the most memorable for me.
That's really nice. You spent a few hours with her, replaying a song, and then all of a sudden, she replayed it all by herself.
Yes.
Without being asked to.
Yes.
I know the girl you're referring to, and I've never heard her speak before.
Okay.
Like, never heard her actually speak Indonesian.
No.
Or English.
No.
When we ask her questions, she always just nods yes or no. She can only answer like that. So you're lucky to hear her speak.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I was.
Well, I wish I was there. Because, yeah. Really cool. So, I think this is going to be one of the last few questions I'm gonna ask you. What do you hope to achieve or leave behind as your legacy at Cordova?
Okay. What I want for my legacy at Cordova is for, I will not say everybody, but most of the students to have a good grasp of using English before I leave Cordova. Everybody, no, it's not going to happen. But maybe 90% of the students to be able to have a conversation with their friends in English. That is what I hope I am going to leave behind. I don't care if anybody remembers me or what I do, as long as they can use English before I retire.
Before you retire, that's kind of beautiful. Kind of a beautiful legacy, to be honest. I really hope that time will come to where they would normally speak in English without having to be asked to speak in English. Like my friend and I, we often speak in English just because not many people understand it. Well, this is our own reason. Because not all of them understands us, so we can like almost speak in secret, you know.
Yeah, a secret language nobody can understand.
Yeah, only both of us understand. But some of them do understand, but it's mostly us who understand. Well, let me see. I'm gonna ask you some questions as we wrap up. So what advice would you give to schools or educators in Indonesia who want to improve English and who want to improve their English programs?
Okay, my advice to anybody that wants to improve their English program at their school is to start early with the young students. Give them time to grasp English before you try to push them to speak English. If you push them, then they're just going to shut off and not use English ever. So don't push them. Give the students time. It will take a lot of time to have an English program at a school. It won't happen in 1 year.
Yeah, it won't happen instantly.
No, it's going to take a few years for it to happen, but you've just got to keep trying. Don't push the students too hard, or again they will lose interest, and it's not going to help anybody.
And very nice. My personal advice is for parents or schools in general is to play videos or films that are in English that they like, or watch Indonesian films or something but have English subtitles, so when you listen you know what they mean, but when you read you can have an idea of what they mean, or the other way around, you watch English films and have Indonesian subtitles. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay. My personal advice to parents would be every day, 20 minutes, use it for English time, where you as a parent and your children only use English in them 20 minutes. But the thing is, you have to do it every day. Don't have a day off.
Don't have a day off.
No, every day, 20 minutes. And in about 3-4 months, your English will improve as a parent, and your child's English will improve.
I see. Well, I've never actually been taught English at home since I was kind of self-taught, but I never even realized I was self-taught. So, but I would give the same advice, like give 20 minutes a day to let them learn, at least. So, I think that concludes our interview. So, in conclusion, in my opinion, English is going to be very, very important in the future. Well, at least in your future. And that depends what you're going to work as when you grow up. But in general, English is our most commonly spoken internationally. Oh wait, let me word it another way.
International.
Yeah, it is our sort of international language. So like almost everyone from every country in the world can understand English. So like when you want to travel, for example, to Japan, you know, not many people speak English there, but at least some of them do. So it's the very, very minimum. It's the bare minimum. And yeah, English itself is very, very important. And I hope that everyone, at least in my generation, will be fluent in both their own language and in English, so everyone can communicate very easily with each other, no matter where they're from. Well, I think that's enough for the conclusion. Wait.
we have a
An invitation to join as a student at Cordova. I don't know what this means. And what's going to be the next episode? We're going to wrap up for now. What's going to be the next episode? I have no idea. Well, I'm not gonna give you guys spoilers because it's gonna be a secret. Yep.
But you have to give your invitation to join Cordova.
Oh. It's a good idea.
If you want your English to be as good as my English, why don't you join us here at Cordova?
Ah, yeah. I didn't understand what it means. Okay. So, in conclusion, if you want your English to be as good as me, and if you want your English to almost sound as fluent as Mr. Duncan, you can join us at SIT plus Cordova. You can sign up to our CLC lesson, Cordova English Language Center, right?
Yep.
At our website. So look it up, SIT plus Cordova on your browser, and you can sign up, or you can contact our staff. It will be listed on the website. So I think we're going to wrap up our Cordova in Bloom podcast. So we're going to say a line together. I would really like to thank you for coming over here to make time for our podcast.
It was my pleasure.
So what do you think of this podcast?
I think it's good. Do it every week.
Every week? Oh, that's gonna take
Or at least once a month.
once a month.
Like do an English podcast once a month.
But I'm kind of hoping that I won't be the only one who speaks.
No,
So we have, like,
there's lots of students
lots
that
of
we
students.
can invite to do the speaking. And like they can come and share their tips on how they manage to get good at using English. Do a monthly thing.
Yeah, because I don't really want to be the only model for speaking English.
No, there is
I'm not-
more people we can use.
because I'm not the only one who's good at English here. So, for example, I have my friends in class.
Yeah.
I have my friend here who can speak English very well.
Yes,
So,
he can.
So if we're gonna make this a monthly project, so I guess next month he's going to host the podcast
Yes.
without a script, of course. Like, how will we do it?
See? The only thing you have to do is do it in English, and everything will be good.
Yeah, it'll be like a normal podcast. It's gonna be like a normal podcast, just in English.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, that's the only
No need to be
difference.
scared. No need to be scared, guys.
Remember, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes in English. We're all here to learn. If
Yes.
you don't make mistakes, then you don't have to learn.
There's a quote for that, or a poem or a term or something. Even biting your tongue is an example. Even if you've worked for a long time, you can still make mistakes.
Yes, everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody, it's a human thing.
I probably even make mistakes. I'm just better at hiding them.
Yeah, of course. Well, for the next episode, who knows what it's gonna be? Because I can't give you spoilers. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for coming over.
And thank you for inviting me. And
Yes.
hopefully we can do it again.
Yes, I really hope to do it again. This is really, this has been a really enjoyable experience. And honestly, it can also improve the way I speak, because I still speak way too fast and I hope it can sort of polish my tone. Like, I don't really like the way I speak, so I hope it can improve. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for our audience who has watched or listened. Goodbye, Cordova in Bloom podcast.
We talk and flourish with you. Good job.
Thank you so much.
See,
Oh
you
my
done
God.
well. There was nothing to be afraid of.